Hey everyone, it's the Billiards Doctor. Today we're doing a What's in the Case. We have the best player from BU who graduated last year. He's going to tell you about his cues and everything in the case.
Thank you, Billy's Doctor. It's my pleasure and quite an honor to be featured on your channel. Yeah, my name is Mike. I did graduate from BU, and I'm quite proud. Well, actually, I'm quite flattered that I was called the best player. Well, let's get down to business because I feel like that's the most interesting part about this particular episode. So, as you can see, I'm a diehard of McDermott cues and diehard of rapless versions of them. So, for my playing cue, I have a McDermott G605. It's their inlaid shaft series of cues. They look phenomenal, I think, and inlaid shaft really gives quite a character to the cue. Recon Ebony, Recon Ivory, Turquoise, I think, Blue really looks and works well with black in the points. It's curly maple and some bird's eye, if you're able to see this. It's 19.5 ounces. I prefer to play with a bit heavier cues, but I'm trying and experimenting with lighter cues. 12.5, if I'm not mistaken, for the shaft. Kamui is super soft. To be perfectly honest, I do prefer non-layered tips. So if I were to switch from Kamui, I would probably pick something really simple like Elfmaster. But since Kamui is the hot stuff right now, I decided to go with the flow. Yeah, Kamui is super soft. What else? It's a regular length cue, so 59 inches. Standard McDermott joint really gives a lot of soft touch to the hit. If you're a experienced pool player, you'll know what I mean. Let's go to my break cue. I have a Stinger NG02C. Oh, I'm quite proud that I remembered the model. It's the Rosewood Recon Ebony Turquoise model. I really like that my playing cue and my break cue kind of match each other in terms of Recon Ebony and Turquoise inlays. Also rapless. It's a jump break cue. It's 21.5, closer to 22 ounces. It's quite heavy in terms of weight, but I just enjoy breaking with heavy cues. A really cool feature about this particular cue is that the joint type on the middle section and joint type on the butt is the same, which means that you're able to jump with a lighter cue if you so desire, if you use the rosewood section with a jump shaft, or the heavier jump cue if you decide to attach the butt to the shaft directly. Stinger shaft. Oh, I think I forgot to mention my playing shaft. It's a regular G-core that comes on, mid-level, mid to close high-end cues from McDermott series. It's marginally better than all maple shaft, but it's still classified as low deflection. I know it's not nearly as good as Revo, 314, Jacoby, Edge shafts, but nonetheless, it's something that I like and I enjoy playing with. Stinger for brake shaft, standard, nothing crazy about that. 13.25 in terms of the diameter. Phenolic tip. I do like braking with leather tips, but as for now, I am playing with phenolic on my brake cue, and it seems to do the job well. Really gives a really square hit. Yeah, as you can see, United States McDermott make cues seems to be the thing that I love a lot, and I think they make phenomenal cues, especially considering that they offer a lifetime warranty on them. Yeah, that's pretty much all about my playing equipment. Let's get down to the gear that comes with it. I have an Elite case. It's 2x2. As you can see, I don't have any spare shafts or a jump cue in addition, but I feel like jump break is just as good. Not much can be said about my case, apart from that it's a hard one. I think hard cases are far better than soft cases just because they provide extra options in terms of carrying them. For example, you can put them on a plane. If you're flying, you can throw them in a trunk without, being afraid of damaging the cues if you had a soft case. Bunch of, extra sections where I can throw down stuff. This would probably be designed for a jump handle, but since I don't use a jump cue, I just use it to store extra accessories. And since I decided to start talking about accessories, I might as well tell what I have. My case is pretty much full of junk, but I feel like this junk is pretty important. I have a bunch of finger wraps. Silly thing about me, my favorite pool player, absolutely all-time favorite, is Earl Strickland, and as you can know and probably see from his matches, he likes to wear ass weights and all kind of gadgets. He's the gadgets man, but nonetheless he's phenomenal. And I have finger wraps that I made myself. I just took a piece of cloth, sewed them together. You can put them on your. I usually put them on my middle and point finger, and it works as some kind of alternative to a regular glove, and they don't look as flashy, which I really like. I have two magic racks. I think magic racks are extremely important in terms of having in your case. It's not obviously a necessity, but I do think they do provide a better spread on the break, even though it might be in my head, and magic rack might just give you an extra confidence, but I think they do give you a tighter rack and therefore a better spread. Moose head, I didn't have a chance to use it yet because, bridges are available pretty much anywhere. Doesn't matter where you go, they'll have one, but it's also nice to have in your case. I have also some shaft maintenance tool, turquoise and McDermott burnisher. It's pretty simple. It's just a very, very fine sandpaper, in terms of turquoise, and McDermott burnisher is just a piece of leather that you can, burnish your cue with to seal the pores after you've done, polishing with turquoise. Both tools pretty much effectively remove sweat, some dirt, maybe some chalk residue on the shaft, and I use them all the time. I'm probably taking a little bit of wood every time I do this, but the shaft is still gonna last me quite a long time, even if I continue doing this. As for the chalk, yeah, I do have a piece of Kamui chalk. I think it's really expensive, but the advantage it offers in terms of longevity, that since you don't need to chalk every single shot, it will last you a year at least, one cube, so you might as well. But my regular playing chalk is just Predator. In my humble opinion, I'm obviously nowhere near professional level. I'm amateur at best, but I think Predator chalk is basically master chalk, only in fancy packaging and a bit better holding power on the Q-tip. Yeah, so I just have a set of Predator chalks, back of them, and a few plain chalks. I used to carry a bunch of Masters chalk with me. I experimented quite a lot with chalks. I played with Balabushka, with Masters, with Taomi, but I came back to Predator, and that's what I like right now. What else? I think we discussed pretty much everything that I have on this side of the table. Now this is gonna be quite silly. This part is just a shaper, Q-Tech shaper. Pretty much every single pool player has one. Those are cue hangers. You see, when I play at home or when I go to a friend's house to play pool, I prefer to not lean my cues against something like cue claw, for example, if you use one, or just edge of the table, somewhere where it can stay. I prefer to hang them on the wall. So how this works is the whole assembled cue would just slide into the cue hanger like this. Well, I'm gonna use this one since because I use that one a bit less often. So I would just slide them in this, and I would hang it on the wall. And it's silly, but that's how I like to store my cues, because I don't like them to leave them in the case. For example, during summer breaks, something like that, I like to hang them. Those are just self-made. I have a lot of gadgets that I made myself. Just as stroke straighteners, what I usually do if I feel like my stroke is off, I would put them on the table. I would put the cue ball, in front, as well as the object ball, and I would just cue and shoot, maybe like 100 balls with these things on the table, so that I know that my cue doesn't go to the left or right, and that I follow through with every single shot, and therefore I achieve what I need to in terms of playing potential. This is just a roll of paper that I use to store my magic racks, so nothing interesting about that. I do like to throw them in there and kind of roll it pretty tightly so it would fit in my case. Yeah, if someone has a better option, a better solution of storing magic racks in their cases, feel free to say something in comments. We would greatly appreciate this because this seems to be a problem that is bothering millions of pool players worldwide.
Mike, we have some questions for you about your cue. Tell us how much your playing cue costs and how much your break cue cost.
Well, I feel like you can win a world title playing with $100 cue. It doesn't really matter. The money aspect doesn't really matter. It's just a $600 playing cue and $250 break cue. Do I think I spend too much? No. Do I think I would spend more? I don't think so. I feel like the 500 mid-range level is the best for all amateurs, maybe low-level professionals. Obviously, if you're playing with a custom cue, I'm a huge fan of custom cues. Obviously, they would cost you quite a bit more unless you go for a really plain, like Merry Widow style of cues. But I feel like this is kind of a gold spot in terms of money you can spend on your cues.
And why did you choose to buy that cue versus buying other cues? Like, why did you choose that brand? Why did you choose that type?
Well, I started playing with McDermott. I started playing when I was 14 or 13 years old. And the thing is, I started playing with obviously house cue, just like anyone else. And that's why I decided to stick with wrapless modals, because my hands sweat a lot. I'm basically, my hands sweat to the point that I feel like I'm taking a shower every time I play. So that's why I decided to go with wrapless modals. I guess leather wrap, I think they look fantastic. But they just don't seem to work for me, and I absolutely hate linen wraps. They just don't do the job for me. So yeah, and McDermott, well, my first cue after I decided to drop the house cue was a McDermott. It was, I don't remember the model, but it was pretty plain, some points, some designs, and it just was phenomenal. That cue lasted me, I think, 4 years or so. Then I decided to switch. I played with Adam's cue. What else? Tried some Peshawars, but in the end I still came back to McDermott. It just seems to be phenomenal, and I really like this Wisconsin-based cue company. Their life maintenance plan is great addition, and I think it's also nice to have in your pocket. If the cue gets warped, you just send it, it'll fix it for free.
And last question, how much did the cue case cost?
Well, this was, if I'm not mistaken, $120 cue case. I decided not to invest too much in the case. I think $120 is just an average cost for a case. Obviously, I could have done something really fancy, went with custom case like a JJ, but I decided to go with Elite. I think it's pretty robust. It's not very easy to scratch it, and it looks pretty good. It's not too flashy, it's not too subtle. It's kind of the level of attractiveness that I enjoy, just like my cues. So I'm just mid-rangey equipment.
Great. Well, this is the Billiards Doctor. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more videos.